Good evening, everyone. It's so lovely to be in an oasis of calm. Whenever you see that there's a Clarity show on the menu, that you know it is going to be a calm and peaceful show. And without further ado, I also love a crafting company that takes you on lots of journeys as well. So let's go on a journey down south. There she is in the shack down at Clarity HQ. The one and only Barbara Gray. Good evening, Barbara. How are you?
Good evening, Derek. Great to have your company this evening.
You too as well, and I'm glad that you're super cosy and warm as well, because it's freezing out there. Now listen, we've got pretty much a new concept here, and I need you to take me from zero to hero in a nutshell, if you will, please.
Well, okay, so these are what we've called our Frosted Floral Overlays, and it's a great idea that Linda Williams and Lynn Jackson came up with together, and the idea is that we're creating they are printed parchment, pre-printed, and it's the first time that anybody's ever printed white on parchment. So it's taking a really traditional parching technique, a colouring technique, and I'll show you how what happens is we're splitting the white work from the colouring, but you get this fantastic frosted overlay. I'll show you as we go along. I'll show you how it works, Derek.
Fantastic. Right, I'm going to walk you through everything that we have in the show. We're going to start with what is officially the one-day special, but I'm going to say hang on, and wait until you've seen everything, because you're going to want the overall bundle here. And Freedom members, of course, you always make extra savings as well. So the first selection is the Frosted Floral Overlay Collection. Now this is called set 1, which is a little bit of a misnomer actually. I guess there will be more sets in the future, but actually it's a set of 5 complete floral kits here. You've got the fuchsia, you've got amaryllis, you have got the Christmas rose, a rose, and a tatty tulip there as well. Plus you are getting the folder to keep all of your materials in as well. This is so exquisite. It's really beautiful. Now I'm just going to give you quickly the details for that one. 124657. You've got Flexi Freedom on that one, and you've got a £10 saving. Now, all I'm interested in right now is just taking that £10 saving, because I'm going to be taking it with me to complete collection coming up very shortly. So I'm going to wish you straight over, as Barbara was saying, this concept of taking the line art onto parchment is brilliant, because this, in the first collection, you have your line art, which is printed in white, but here we have the complete set of all of the 5 florals printed in black, like it was a stamped image of all of those 5 florals, and 10 sheets of each in this collection. So this is your parchment collection, again, set 1, all 5 of the flowers, 10 of each there, £19.95, so it's got a £5 introductory saving on it as well. I am going to take that £5 saving as well to the complete collection, so I'll hold that in my hand as well, if that's okay. And I'm going to take you through the third element of this, because so far we've been looking at parchment, and of course Barbara, as you know, is a great stamper, so had to have something for the stampers as well. So this is the Stamp and Mask collection of all of these gorgeous florals here for you. Again, with a whopping big saving on it as well. You've got the amaryllis, the Christmas rose, the fuchsia, the rose, and the tulips there as well. So this has a £10 saving, which again I'm going to take out for a complete collection for you, and then we'll talk about an overall collection in just a second, because I'm telling you now, individually they are absolutely brilliant and will have a really broad appeal across paper crafters, but you will want all 3 elements of this together in one collection. So I'm going to bring you that collection straight away, because we are also going to take the £10 saving from here and the £5 saving from here and the £10 saving which is there, take all of those and take another £5 saving from Clarity. Merry Christmas, thank you very much. So a £30 saving in total in a complete collection, which gives you all of the guidance how to create what you're about to create, plus the 2 different versions of the printed artwork on the parchment. And you are getting the Stamp and Mask collection as well, of what is overall an absolutely delicious collection. So here is your overall, blimey, that's tall, isn't it, up there? 888-401 is your item number here. It is on 2 flexis for you, and does have that. I know that £5 saving is there, but we've taken the other savings from the other 3 collections as well and added to that. Right, okay, now let's go back to the beginning, Barbara, because I think that's always a good place to start. For anyone who hasn't seen this concept, and it is a new concept, but you've already tested it out. You've had a retreat and had a great time creating these artworks and this concept and proving that it's something that actually people who are new to parchment and also who love it already can both get something new out of this.
Exactly. And when we had our parchment retreat in October at the spa in Tunbridge Wells, we had a wonderful few days, and we put this new concept through its paces. And the artwork that the ladies delivered and created was just amazing, and they couldn't believe themselves. There were three groups, if you like, and we went around, because what you've got here is 3 layers, and more will be revealed. But Linda Williams, she was in charge, if you like, of the white work section. I was in charge of the colouring layer, and then Josie Davidson was in charge of the grid work layer, and that was how we built the parchment up. And you'll see when you look at some of the artwork, it is just spectacular. But I'd really love to have a closer look at that board that you've got there, and we could deconstruct one of the packs so our good friends at home can see exactly what comes. There we are.
Yes, because you get this 5 times over. You get kind of this for every one of the 5 florals, Barbara.
Yes, so if we were to, you could see here, you get 4 of the rows printed in white on A5 parchment, and then you get 1 of the rose elements. If we could have a look at that, you'll see, so if you look at the top, so you'll see you've got, there, so there's the rose. Now you get 4 of those printed exquisite roses on the parchment in very, very fine white line art on the, so there's your other 3. Then to the right of that, here you see, what we've also done is given you a practice, a sampler sheet, which is really great because it means that you can practice your white work on those pieces, right? And your colouring as well, so that's cool. And then if you go further to the bottom, you'll see you've got your 5 pieces of 4 pieces of parchment, sorry, clear parchment. Now that's the interesting one. Then you've got instructions for the white work. Now you see this one here, Derek? Yeah. It's just a black print on paper. That's your pattern for the colouring. And my job was to show our friends who visited us at the spa how to colour on a layer that doesn't actually have line art. And this is really a cool technique. Next to it, of course, we've got an actual coloured print. And this is for inspiration. And it's also for monitoring your white work layer. So I'll show you that as well in a minute. And then next to the coloured one, finally, we've got 1 black line art sample. And we put a taster in the pack just so that our people that buy or start on the white, the black is so fantastic. That's why I suggested when we were preparing for this TV launch that we also included sets of the black print, because that would, I think possibly because I'm a stamper, that would be where I gravitated.
So, Barbara, in a nutshell, because I'm used to, when we're seeing line art, I'm used to us having a plate and we will trace, and that's how we create the wire work. So this is almost turning that concept on its head. What's the difference to the way that actually your finished appearance? What's the difference between that way and this way?
Okay, so the Groovi plates, they are that bridge from having, let's say, from being a complete novice, and they give you that line art with ease. It's a very mindful process. And then there comes a point, traditional parching, you see, taking us back into before Groovi world came around, traditional parchers would actually trace and draw out the line art with white ink onto parchment. So we're actually going to the traditional spectrum of parchment art, except instead of asking our friends to draw it, we've printed it for them. We've done the most difficult part, and that's the best part of it. When we were on the retreat, several of our friends from Clarity Towers, who are designers and artists, but not parchers. They joined in, and they really enjoyed, even being never done any parching before. They thoroughly enjoyed this layering process. So, you know, it's not just for parchers, it's for people who just like colouring, and it's a very exciting process, actually.
It is beautiful, and I love that kind of frosty finish to it as well. It's wonderful, and I guess here you can actually go quite light and quite pastel if you want to. You can be more impactful. You can do it monochromatically if you want to. You are still making that impression on the parchment if you want to as well, Barbara, aren't you? I guess you can pick out elements, can you, to enhance?
Yeah,
if you
absolutely,
want?
absolutely. So look at this one. This is glorious, and this is done on rainbow parchment, or with rainbow parchment in the background, and it's got the black printed on the. Isn't that lovely?
It's gorgeous.
So you're taking that, yeah, and you see now with the Groovi plate, of course, that line art would be white, and it's very, very delicate. You'll find when you actually are holding this printed work, it's very fine. Linda and I worked closely on this, and we got to the sweet spot, which was very, very fine. Here's one. This is white work, just gorgeous, using the Christmas rose, and then the grid on the outside, which is where that was Josie's department. Really lovely.
It's absolutely stunning, and you can create lots and lots of different kind of crossover looks, can't you? You can just bring white work out to highlight particular parts of the of the floral, can't you? It's wonderful. It's so soft and delicate, and actually there's a real nice tactility to it. I need to talk to you about stock straight away, actually, on this one. Lots of you, as we suspected, want a little bit of everything. You want the stamps, you want the masks, you want the kit as well, with the printed white work, and the prints are in black as well, like they've been stamped. Beautiful. 20% of the complete collection, and we're 12 minutes in, 20% of the complete collection there. So it is everything you are seeing from there all the way down to there. You are getting with your flexi payments, with a £30 saving as well. Not just the £5 from this collection, but we carried over from 3 individual collections another £25 worth of saving. And of course, if you are a Freedom member, you are making that extra saving as well, which is absolutely superb. 888-401 is your item number. All of the other bundles, of course, are on their own individually, plus, of course, a forest of Clarity products as well to sit next to all of these, which is phenomenal. So actually, the way we're going to go through the shows, Barbara, as well, is in quite a kind of sequential way, isn't it? We've got lots of different things to discover. It's by no means one-dimensional, this one-day special.
No, thank you. And the idea was that the 6 o'clock show now, I just want to put the pack through its paces and just gently touch on each layer and explain why it's in the pack. And actually, those black prints are a must-have. They really are. What I wanted to do was explain that 6 o'clock is just gently touching on each skill set, if you like. Then at 8 o'clock this evening, Paul will be with you, and he will be going into the white work layer in more depth. And then at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'll be going into the colouring in more depth, and I'll also be bringing in the stamps, because there's one of the things that was really enjoyable at the retreat was this new kind of colouring. To actually be, it's like painting on porcelain. The finished result is like it's like painting on porcelain, because you don't have line art. You don't stamp it and then colour it in. You're working on a layer above the line art. It's very, very lovely. So that's 8 o'clock. Then at 12 o'clock, lunchtime, Paul will be back, and he will be getting into the grid work. And then at 4 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, Paul will be just touching on everything and having a little bit of a refresh. So even, and I know this to be true, Derek, even the ladies and gents who joined us at the spa at the retreat, they're really looking forward to a refresher. So that's what we're hoping to achieve in this one-day special.
Yeah, actually, I think this is one that's going to get busier and busier and busier as we go through the show, actually, because you need to get your head around the concept and see it in action. And then you get it, you understand it, and you say, oh, actually, yes, I really like the look. I like the finish that you get from this as well. Barbara, I'll let you get set up for your first demo, and I'll just show everybody in the meantime, as we've been talking about Groovi. We've got the brand new, these are Josie straight and diagonal embossed frames and corners. It's the plate duo here. Oh, okay. We're getting both of these, are we? Oh gosh, right. Okay, that wasn't. I hadn't even considered that for the number that we were looking at on the screen. You would easily just assume that that would just be either one or the other. It's not a choice of each. You are getting both there with a £5 saving and some, if you ask me, because if you bear in mind how versatile a single plate like this is and can be for framing your pieces, and I mean they are just the most exquisite. I mean, I just love working with the Groovi system. You get something which is so neat, so exacting, something you can move around, something you can play with, something you can pico cut into as well, use the shapes in really, really different and imaginative ways as well. The other thing I love about Groovi as well, and I do believe me, correct me if I'm wrong at all, Barbara, but there is now on your YouTube pages, on the Clarity YouTube, on the Facebook page, should I say, Groovi Tuesday is back, where Paul joins you every Tuesday. And he's been going back to basics, actually, of the Groovi system recently on the videos as well. So Barbara's back regularly with the Shack now as well, which is brilliant. And Groovi Tuesday is back on the menu too. So I wanted to let you know that they were on the show. 980468 is the item number. Grab those quickly. They will always go very, very quickly indeed. Right, let's go back to where we started and our one-day special. Moreover, the complete collection for this brand new concept, separating the line art and the colouring and creating something brilliant. It's so busy, Barbara. I'm not surprised. But for the uninitiated, and I'm going to count myself in that group as well, let's go right back to the beginning, shall we?
Okay, thank you, Derek. Also, on that note, with the Groovi Shack that Paul heads up every Tuesday at 10 o'clock on Facebook Live, it's where we take people who are starting out as well, and you buy the things and then you don't know what to do with them. And what we do on Groovi Tuesday is teach you, and it's free, and you join in, and there's a fabulous community there, and we work our way through. And I spoke to Linda earlier this afternoon, and it was agreed that what Paul and Linda want to do, because they double up on this, we've got, I think in January, we've got 4 more sessions on book 1, which is they're going through Linda's multi-needle toolbook. And then after that, Linda also thought it would be a brilliant idea to take one of these flower packs and go through the whole process together, starting in February. So from the 1st of February, that's when this will be taking place. So if you did decide to invest, make a note. On the 1st of February, a weekly lesson will Linda herself, Linda Williams, and Paul will be taking you through how to use these wonderful parchment prints.
Fabulous.
Okay,
Good,
so
great timing then.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I wanted to point out with these, if I may, with these plates here, one of them is on a diagonal. These have been designed on a diagonal, on a straight. They're brilliant, these grid plates, and Josie designed them specifically for the retreat, but this is the first time that they've been publicly launched. And what's so good about them is they are, when we say they're designed on the straight and on the diagonal, we've got basic grids. So we've got a straight basic grid and we've got a diagonal basic grid, and these are not drilled. These are only embossed. They're engraved. But you can make the most. I wanted to show you some examples using these. Look at this. These frames are just glorious. This is using the straight one, and you can literally, even for a total beginner, let me show you this. You can literally emboss the whole thing on a piece of A4 parchment. Worth getting some A4 parchment for this job. And you see where you actually cut is where you would use the straight holes underneath. And that's what Paul is going to go into with you at 12 o'clock tomorrow lunchtime. So you've got diagonal patterns, you've got straight patterns, but it's actually perfect for somebody starting out. These plates are wonderful for a beginner. So they're well worth investing. I think the price is great as well.
Perfect. Very, very busy on the plates already, by the way. Just to let you know, 20% of the stock of those. And we've only had a very, very quick look at those as well. And there's lots more to come. It's really good to know, actually, dates in your diary to see fuller demonstrations as well, along with Clarity. Because it's not just a case of just buying the products and then that's it. Good luck, have fun, let us know what you've done. There's always that kind of ongoing partnership and loads of people involved as well. Right, let's go back to our frosted floral, shall we? Because that's the main attraction tonight on our one-day special. Back to you, Barbara.
Right, the frosted florals. The thing about them is they come in layers, and I wanted to just show you by means of some really clever artwork done by our ladies. I want to show you how it works. So if, for example, we take this rose, and you'll see if I fold this over, you'll see that actually we've just taken one of the printed roses. And you'll notice that this is coloured in. It's got no line art on it at all. But this is that, you know, I was talking about the painted porcelain look. This is the colouring technique that is going to be taught, right? So this one is just literally introducing, you can see here, we're just introducing the white line art. If I wanted to, I could take that black line art and I could overlay that. You see?
Oh, wow.
So you can change the look completely. So let's just hold that thought. Now let's take another one. This is the amaryllis. And this one, so you see here, this has been coloured in that traditional, very traditional parching technique. And I was in charge of this, and if I can do it, anyone can do it. And you see, this time there's white work. So this can work independently, and this is my point. This looks beautiful on its own. This looks beautiful on its own, overlaid, gorgeous, frosted.
Stunning, isn't it?
What the best thing about this is, here's the tatty lace, the tatty tulip. If you look at this one here, the best thing about this is, while you're learning the colouring in, it can be very, very forgiving, because there'll come a point where you see, when you put a translucent layer over it like that, then this isn't so crucial anymore. So as you're learning your skills, you just use the overlay. And then there'll come a point where you'll say, do you know, I want to just use the colour on parchment. I don't need an overlay. What's lovely about this one as well, you'll see it's only got a partial emboss. So this is just straight. There's a little bit of grid work in there. Can you see this? Let me see if I can come in on this camera.
Gorgeous.
And maybe you can see the grid work in the corner there.
That's
but
lovely.
Then you see the frost. You see the frosted effect.
You almost want to reach in through the window, don't you? It's got that kind of extra dimension, isn't it?
And then when you open it up, you've got this glorious layer. Now, normally, Derek, you see, the way it works usually is that the layers are together. Normally, the colour is on the back of the white work. So by splitting it, and this is groundbreaking stuff. By splitting it, not only does it make it easier for the parcher, because they can, for somebody learning their skills, this is brilliant because you've got the best of both worlds. But eventually, look at this one. This is just beautiful. Now this is coloured. This is a coloured piece with the black line art over the top, which is very, and check out the border, which is just as it comes. Now check that out versus this one. So this is the one with white, and this is the one with black. Completely the same principle, but how gorgeous are they? You know. So this is really where we're headed. This is the one that I want to kind of work towards tonight. And we're 25 minutes in, and I think I've kind of explained the different layers. I think our friends at home now will understand that you're working on different layers. Now I'm going to show you how it works, if that's okay.
Just hold that thought for just one quick second, Barbara, because I need to bring you some updates straight away. It's incredibly busy, and thank you for explaining that as well, because it just it brings everything together, and it shows you the reason why, if you like, that actually, if you were first looking individually at this set and thinking, well, I'll have a go with that, yeah, but the black line art, I mean, that really works. So then you start putting those two together, and then you think there's a stamper in all of us, isn't there? And of course, Clarity famous for those incredible masks. So to have the stamps that go with that, to expand that theory and give you a bigger breadth of what you can do. And I think the level of sophistication you've got here is absolutely fantastic, isn't it? Over a quarter of the entire complete collection. Bear in mind that the complete collection isn't the one-day special. It's made up of the one-day special and this, which is brilliant because we've taken the savings from that, and that, and made a complete collection with a really, really good saving. And now we're talking about a quarter of the stock of that sold out and gone. So please do check out your baskets as quickly as you possibly can, because the more you see, the more will go. And it's already very, very busy indeed. Right, okay, let's get started. I can't wait to get started with this because there's so many different things that we can go at. Good job that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours worth, Barbara.
Yes. Well, let's touch on the embossing first, on the white work, and I'll show you. I mean, this is something that partriders are familiar with, but I think it's a good idea just to see when you look, for example, at the piece of A5 parchment, there are a couple of things I want to flag up to you. If you look in the corner, you'll see, first of all, there's an F for front. We printed the F for front so that when you're doing your white work, you'll know what side you're on. You'll also notice that there are little tiny registration marks in all 4 corners. So that means when you go to align your work, line up the layers, all you've got to do is line up those registration marks, and the print in the middle will follow perfectly. That's well worth knowing. Now, the other thing is that Linda, she wrote out for us some really in-depth, look, before you start, equipment, what you need. Let me just show you this, because this is for the person who wants to really master white work. And she's gone through in great detail how to do the petals, how to do the leaves, which is also, that's another reason why it's so good that you've got this practice sheet. It's so good to use that. When you look here, Derek, what you'll see is that there are steps, and we know by now that the white work is most successful when we work in layers, we let it rest, and you just go stage 5, stage 6, stage 7. This is a real trad parching approach. Do you have to do that many layers? It's entirely up to you. But what I really think is a good idea is, and this is so key, is to make a note. Stage 1, when you do your white work, if you used, for example, you're going to use your largest ball tool, you use the number 6, and you did a layer with your number 6, then at that point you're going to take a pen and you're going to write in here, before you let it relax, right, I stayed first layer of white work, number 6. Then when you go back next time, say, because you're not going to do it all in one sitting, you could do this over many days, like needlework or ceramics or anything. It doesn't have to be done overnight. Then when you go back, you'll know, oh, that's what I've done. I've only done 1 layer, and I've used number 6 ball tool. So then stage 2, you may go with the 6 again. Then stage 3, when you come back, you might say, oh, right, now I'm going to go with the 4.5 now, and then you write 4.5 in there. So you keep a progress report of your white work as you're working on it. I think that's well worth doing, because it's how you improve. It's how you improve, and stopping between and keeping a check so you know when you go. Otherwise, you go back after a day or 2 days, and you don't know what tools you use. You won't remember. So it's always good to write it down in your book. And each of the flowers has its own book. So each of the flowers comes with this, so each of the flowers is different. So when it comes to white work, the first thing we need is a soft mat underneath. Now, we can either use the black mat from the starter kit. We've got a Groovi starter kit, which has a black mat. And in the black mat, it's soft on the back. So that's the first option. Second option, on the show, what we've got is, we've got the blue mat. And it's got a soft back too. And the thing about that one is it comes with stuff that you're going to need, equipment that you're going to need for this job. It comes with the tools from the starter kit, the number 4 tool, the number 3. This is great that you've already got embossing tools then if you haven't got the starter kit. And it also comes with an eraser pencil. And that's very useful too. So that's worth having. I think you've got that on the show.
We have details there up on your screen. Sorry to interrupt, Barbara. 331868 is your item number then for that one. That's the A4 craft mat, the 2 double-ended tools as well, plus the eraser pen. 14 pencils, should I say? 14.99. Just going back to the ball tools for a second. How many different ones of those might I need for what we're about to do?
Oh, about 4,
okay.
I'd say. You probably need like the number 6 ball tool and then the number 4.5. And then really you can use the pergamano ones. There you're getting into tighter areas with a 1.5. I really like, and Linda says this as well, she really likes the Groovi tools, the 4 and the 3. They're a good size for tighter areas. So you get a little selection of ball tools. You know, it's like all crafts. You need a few tools, don't you? If you're going to use the blue mat or the black mat, I tell you what's a really good tip. If you take a bit of like this poly bag, when you go to, I'm going to turn it over now, so I'm on the back. When you go to emboss, especially if you're new to this, when you go to emboss with the largest tool first, the poly bag, Derek, it gives it a bit of resistance, so it doesn't go white too quickly. The secret to really beautiful white work is to really work in layers. What you're doing with the white work, if you think it through like this, you're adding the light. When you do white work, you're adding light. So wherever the parchment stretches, and as you go around, light feathery strokes like this, if I hold this to the black, you'll see that already you can see it starting to change. And you can feel it stretching it. So this takes time. And you understand when you're going into smaller areas. I mean, Linda, she always says the number 6 tool's her best friend. She likes the huge ball tool because she says when you think it through, the actual area that's touching the parchment is only tiny. It's not, But if you think about what you're doing when you do this, you're adding light. That's what to consider. And if I were to fast forward now, see, this is where I think this is a brilliant thing because I can take my area, like my flower now, and I can practice on my spare piece here, and I can think, right, how am I going to, so I can do this area first, right, and then I can take the next tool down, which is a smaller tool, which is the 4.5.
So the practice sheet on each set then, you get 5 different ones, of course, if you're going for the complete collection or your one-day special, is about getting to know the pressure, the level of shading and the different levels of white as well, because there's light white and there's really stark, almost like laser white as well, isn't there?
Exactly. And so you can see here, I'm fast forwarding a little bit, but you can see that there's already been some nice white work done on this. Now, if I turn this over again, many people, parchers, also, instead of the blue mat with the poly bag, they often use the pink excellent mat because it is what it says on the tin. It's excellent and it's a lot thinner. So that's also an option. I've started on this one, so I'll continue with this one because I also think that the wonderful thing about this type of art is that it's achievable for everybody. You know, this, you don't have to be a master parcher to do a little bit of, you just got to take your time, you know. But if I just show you these two little petals here, right, so I'm using a smaller ball tool, sorry. I'm not pressing harder, I'm just using a smaller ball tool. But immediately, let me show you, it's obviously rested. When I turn this over, you'll see that it's got whiter, much whiter than the rest.
Ah.
Can you see?
Yeah.
So you're not pressing harder. Have a look at, see the lips that are curling over here,
Yeah.
the rose lips. If I want to make them whiter, so now I've got to think, let me take the number 4 one. So I want to get in there now. And if I want to add a bit of light, then I'm going to come in there and I'm just going to stroke some light into this lip. Just there, because that's where I think the light will be. There, there, there. And light, feathery strokes like that. See, yeah, I could go in with an even tighter one to get into that. And you'll see when I hold it against the black, you'll see that it gets whiter and whiter and whiter. There's a temptation to try and make it white instantly, but don't. Resist. Resist. See how white it starts to get.
Ah. So actually, it's nothing to do with the pressure that you're using. This is fascinating, actually, for anyone who's new to this. It's not the pressure that you're using. It's the size of the implement making the impression, which is getting more stretch from the parchment, which is making it whiter.
Exactly. So if you, and the other thing is, if you've got a white pencil, so we've got pergaliners, right? You know, we own the company Pergamano, so we've got the pergaliners, which are brilliant pencils, and you've got your B pencils and your A pencils. A is aqua, water soluble. We're looking at the B pencils here. We're going to use them in a minute, but you could, for example, this is on the front, so again, F for front. If I turn this over, when I'm using pencils, I need a hard surface though. Otherwise, the parchment will think I'm trying to stretch it. If I left this on the soft, it would think that I was trying to stretch it if I use this, right? Also, you'll notice I'm leaning on what we call the guard. We call it a Groovi guard. You lean on anything, lean on a bit of folded up paper, anything, so that you don't put your hot hand on the parchment, you know, because you're working. And what you can do also is if you want, let me say I want to sharpen this white now. I want to really intensify the white in that area. I want to throw some really sharp light on there. I could say I can't get in there now with a tool. I can't get in there, it's too tight, but I want that to be white there, you see? And when I just use a pencil, I just use a white pencil. And when I turn that over, I've got a really beautiful curl on the white. And I haven't used a tool, but I've got the whiteness there. So it's a combination job. You can use, there are no rules. You know, we threw the rule book out when we bought Pergamano. We know what we want to get to. So you can use white pencils, you can use Pergamano tools, you can use Groovi tools, you can use a blue mat, you can use a black mat, you can use the pink mat. You need a soft surface. You just got to know. I think this is a great learning kit. It's a great learning kit, Derek.
It is actually, isn't it? And it's a nice variety of images as well, because actually you've got different scales on the florals. I don't know if you want to just have a little whiz through the florals that you've got here. This is the one-day special, which has all 5 sets of the florals there. They are fascinating and they're really, really nice. I mean, in terms of your use of colour, Barbara, you were using pencils there, but there are other colouring mediums that you can use to colour these images as well. Am I right?
Oh yeah, we've got Perga colours. We've got these felt tip pens. I mean, you can use pencils, Perga colours, polychromos. There are so many different options. The trick is, I'm going to get to the colouring now. When you see what we're going to do with the pencils, it's so cool. It's so lovely.
I love it. And when you see the difference of, you know, the colouring with the black line art, which is on your other bundle as well, it's superb. It just brings a whole new look and feel. And with that wonderful embossing, you've just got that extra level of dimension in the look, in the feel, in the overall finish. I think it just gives you something that's just amazingly sophisticated. If I show you this one the right way up, sorry Carol, lovely sample here, you can see how that almost has a 3D kind of feel. You know when you make one of those 3D pictures that you can online these days and you move your phone around and it appears completely dimensional, like it's a little bit holographic, which is not a look you expect from something that is parched, Barbara. Do you agree? This has given that kind of pop-out dimension.
Yeah, well, the thing is, yes, because the parchment is stretched, it does give it that almost holographic effect. But the thing that impresses me with this as well is, apart from that, you're honing your colouring and whitework skills. The two layers placed together are very forgiving, so that you're going to get a really good result, even if you're still learning your skills, your parching skills, and that in turn, look at this. This is an absolute masterpiece by Linda Williams. Just a glorious piece of artwork using the winter rose, all in blue, very, very lovely. With that kind of, it's like that frost, that white frost over the top. I just think it's breathtaking, really.
It is wonderful. We're very, very busy across the board, by the way. The details you're looking at right now is the one-day special. Of course, what we'll do is just break it down very, very quickly, and then we'll nip back to Barbara because the time just flies away, as you know. So the one-day special is your 5 sets of florals, and these packs are so brilliant, aren't they, Barbara? Because they take you through, they literally lead you by the hand and give you every element, don't they, in this?
Well, and the other, absolutely. So we're only covering, up until now, we've only covered the whitework layer. Then there's the colouring layer. I also really want to encourage our friends to invest in the black line art, only because it is so beautiful. And I will show you a couple of pieces of artwork for that as well. But what impresses me about this is the interchangeability and the learning factor. So not only have you got the taster parchment in each pack and the instructions, but Linda and Paul are going to be taking you through. And that's also always going to be available on YouTube, even if you can't watch Facebook Live. Those tutorials will be free on YouTube from the 1st of February. So you get a chance to try it yourself first.
Oh, yeah, honestly, it's brilliant. It's one of those things that you just kind of want to get started. And actually, if you craft with other people as well, because essentially you get this pack 5 times over with 5 different florals. That's brilliant, because if you want to learn something together and do it in a sort of community way with friends that you already craft with, this is fantastic, because this is going to take you crafting to another level. So that's your one-day special. 124657 is the item number. You're making a £10 saving there, of course, which we take to the overall bundle. Then we've got this bundle, and this bundle is genius actually, because if you want that wonderful line art of all of those floral images, all 5 of them, the rose, the Christmas rose, the amaryllis, you've got the tatty tulips there, the fuchsia, they are all there for you. You get 10 sheets of each with the line art printed on black there. So of course you can go in with your tools there, you can add your white work to the back of that, you can emboss it, you can colour it further from then. You can have that as an overlay, of course, to a base layer that is coloured, and it gives you another effect as well. 478719 is the item number for that collection. £19.95, saving £5. That £5 saving we take to a complete collection as well. And then, and we've only really sort of touched on this, we've only really mentioned it so far, there's also a bundle of 5 stamp sets with the matching masks to match these florals as well. So it's 25 stamps and 5 masks. And these are brilliant because also, as well as the floral images, you've also got your sentiments on there as well, which is very, very lovely, including for the Christmas rose, season's greetings. You've got thinking of you on the fuchsia, and there are others through, plus having the mask. And the clarity masks are, I have to say, I know you might sound a little biased, but I have to say they're second to none in the crafting industry. You know how difficult it can be and is sometimes to make masks. They are done for you And I'm guessing, Barbara, that this collection kind of had to be part of tonight, really, because you love stamping. Clarity is all about stamping, and it's just a real joy, those florals. It can extend your collection here as well.
Absolutely. And if I may just show you the line art on these stamps. In a minute, I'm going to go to the colouring layer of our frosted, and then you'll begin to understand that you can take absolutely any of these stamps and any other stamps that you've got. I'm just about to open a door for you. You can see here that fuchsia. So this is, funnily enough, this is the one that we're going to be doing tomorrow. 8 o'clock in the morning. So there's a nice stamped image that we're going to do at 8 in the morning. I took my inspiration from Andy Duggan's piece because I loved it, and I thought, right, so I deconstructed it. So we're going to do that at 8 in the morning. I like that a lot. There's the rose. See, they're smaller, so they're really lovely. Very trad, clean, tidy artwork. And I love this font. I just think that this font is delicious. Look at that. Isn't that just delightful?
It's wonderful. It's deliciously neat,
yeah.
Isn't it? It says it very, very smartly. So nice. It's beautiful.
So nice.
Quick update then for you. Obviously, you've got the details there for the stamp and the mask collection. That has a £10 saving as well. I'm going to take that and then come back to the complete collection, because that takes the £10 saving from here and the 5 from here and the 10 from here. Then we add another 5. So technically, you're saving £30 on your complete collection, which gets you all of the frosted florals and the parchment with the black line art printed on it, and the stamps and the masks as well. We're talking approaching 30% of the stock of the complete bundle sold out and gone. Remember, this is the first live hour of 5 throughout the next 24 hours, where we're going to see all of the techniques as well. So do check out as quickly as you possibly can, of course. Then you can just sit back, relax, and watch all the fabulous demonstrations from Barbara and Paul over the next 24 hours or so. Talking of which, let's go to that colouring next, Barbara, then, shall we?
Yes, let's have a look at the colouring. So we've done the white work. That's that layer. So that's working on the side. As we're doing our colouring, you bounce between the two. And to do that, in order to know how much white work, we've also included a beautiful rose, which was also done by Linda Williams. And you can see that she's actually painted it or coloured it in exactly as I'm going to show you on parchment. But what we've done is we've printed it. So this now becomes, when you're doing your white layer, your white work layer, then you can overlay it, and you can see how much more white work do I need, how much more do I want to frost this, or how much more colour do I need in the background, you see? So this is your monitor for doing your white work. And the other thing that we've got in here is this one. This is important. So this is also included in the pack, as is the blank parchment. And the way that this works is that you take a piece of blank parchment, you take your Groovi tabs. I've got a top tip for this. See, this was what I was doing. I was in charge of this bit on the retreat. And so I worked out, you work it out as you go along too, don't you? So I worked out that the best way to do this was to make... to put a Groovi tab at the top and a Groovi tab at the bottom. So what I've done now is I've taken a piece of plain parchment. Hang on, let me just make sure that it's not buckled. Right, I've taken a piece of plain parchment and I've attached it, there you go, to my pattern. So that means that there is nothing on here. And I'm going to start adding colour to this layer, which is how you end up with no line art. Do you see what I mean?
Ah, fabulous.
Yeah, it really is, Derek. So what you're doing is you're colouring in, but you're actually... Let me give you an example, because we had loads of different tricks and tips. For example, I'll fast forward a little bit so you can see one that I'm already working on. And you'll see, for example, let's just take a look at the leaf. Let's just look at the leaf, because this was one that everybody really enjoyed. If I take my yellow, let me show you how this works. if I lay down and I'm working on this side, you see, because what you've got to know is the white is going to sit down on there as well. So if that's the black, that's the white. Now it's just a question of injecting colour into this layer. So where before, in the good old days, Partridge would start adding colour to this, what we're doing is we're introducing another layer underneath. And the trick, let me just put it like this. If I put, I'm going to go light, dark, light, dark. That's the trick. Light, dark, light, dark. And that's what gives you that sense. You look at the leaves, light, dark, above the line, and then it goes light, dark again. And it looks dimensional, doesn't it? It looks as if the leaf is folding over. Because normally what you would do is you'd think light, dark, dark, light. Yeah. But what we're going to do is go light, then, because again, now we're adding light. So you go light and then dark when it tucks in, then you're going to go light there and then dark there. But what we want to do is I would do all the yellow. This is me now. I would do all the yellow. So I'm going to put a bit of yellow in there, wherever I want the yellow. And you don't have to be too pedantic or fastidious about laying down the pigment. See, I want a bit of yellow in there. Say, I want a bit of yellow in there. So I'm not going to overthink that, because I'm working in layers. So when you take this away, you think, how are you ever going to get a flower out of that? But you do, because what you're going to do is you take your Dorso oil. It's all about blending the colours, but you're going to take a bit of Dorso oil, which is on the show. And the trick in this, you start with a lighter colour for sure, and then you're going to take your blending nibs. Let's just take a blending nib. We got them on the show as well. You need the blending nib, right? We're going to pop that in there. You don't even need the holder really, but let's just use the holder. So you're going to use a bit of this. Now this is the most important thing that I must have said it 100 times at the retreat. A little bit of this. But what you're doing is you turn your artwork and you're pushing whatever it is you're doing with the blending nib. When you're blending, you're pushing the pigment with the nib into the line art. So that's how you, so you're blending, right? But you're pushing it always. You're not working away from the edge. You're working into the line art. And that's what's going to give you, as you work round like this, little circular motions, but you've always got your nib pointed at the line art. And this is, with the yellow one, Derek, you can barely see it, right? But when you start to work with the darker colours and put layers in, that's how you end up. Do you see what I'm getting at? Yeah. It's an absolute treat to watch, I have to say. It's wonderful. Just to let you know, Barbara, we've got about 3.5 minutes left on the show. I don't know where it's gone. Over 30% of the complete collection sold out as it stands. So we've only literally got a couple of minutes left. Don't worry, because we have other live shows as well. We're going to be back in an hour's time as well. But just to let you know, Barbara, we've just got a last couple of minutes. And you've got some different examples there, I think, as well, have you? I really want to just flash to, because we'll do some more of that colouring at 8 o'clock in the morning, if I may. But I really want to flash to the black one, because this is it, right? This is the cat's pyjamas. Check this out. When you see the black line art, and this is just so beautiful. Look at that, right? And that's done using the black piece of artwork, okay? But what we're going to do, let me just show you this very, very quickly. You do a little bit of white work on the back, just as we did before. The difference is now on the same piece, you start to slowly build up layers with nothing more than a pencil. All you're going to use is a lead pencil, and you build up your layers. So you start out quite modest like this on the back, right? And then you start building up your layers, and that combined with the white work gives you this spectacular artwork. Isn't that glorious? It's absolutely stunning. I have to say, the more of these samples that I see here in the studio as well, Barbara, the more
binding they are. And actually, camera doesn't do them absolute justice. You'd need to hold these in your hand to see their true beauty. This one actually by Lynn Jackson there, she's created a little kind of like a little shadow box there. She's done a really interesting technique here, Barbara, as well, where she seems to have cut out elements of the floral and sort of overlaid more layers onto the original, which I think is a really lovely idea. Fantastic idea. Yeah, it's almost like a decoupage. It's gorgeous. And on that note, I just want to show you that black line art again. This is, if you could just come to this one, it is just superb, look. And that's done with nothing else than the white work and a lead pencil on the back. Highlights and Lowlights by Linda Williams. Isn't that superb? It's cool. I think actually just for building up your what you perceive to be your colouring confidence as well, and the way you work with texture. I just think this is really going to help you along actually. Fantastic. And there's all the backup of the Facebook pages and the groups as well, which is superb. So Barbara, we next see you bright and breezy first thing in the morning, don't we, at 8 o'clock? And you're going to be doing some more colouring. 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, and I'll be getting the stamps out and I'll be showing you how to get that faux layering that Andy inspired me to do. Fabulous. Can I also say many thanks to Linda Williams and Lynn Jackson and Josie for all their inspiration. Oh, honestly, incredible. And can I say congratulations to you, because you've just won a big award, haven't you? It's a craft award for the best blog of 2021, haven't you? One day at a time. Yeah, one day at a time. That's the only way to do it nowadays. And it's brilliant. And you want to go and have a look at that as well, because there's a good run through of everything that we're doing on the one day special as well. Barbara, lots of love. We'll see you at 8 o'clock in the morning. Thank you very much, Derek. And we will see Paul back here in an hour's time as well. Going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, listen, if you haven't yet checked out, you've got your one-day special and these two kits, but they go so well together that luckily Clarity saw one step ahead. They had that another moment of clarity and put the complete collection together. It's the one that you're going for. It's there under £100, actually. It's a massive £30 in total of savings from the individual bundles, plus an extra £5 from Clarity as well, because hey, it is Christmas. Listen, back with more from the one day special in an hour's time with Paul. So make